girls walking around acting like they're anime girls or some shit. No, that's not how it works.
You would have to pay for that.
I would be. Yes, you would.
Or like even anywhere in Japan, really. You know, there's just like that life that comes out of all of the pictures that people take over there.
It just made me realize it's not as aesthetic, as I thought it once was.
Yeah. I've been subbed to your Twitch for a long time now, and it's just kind of been one of those things that I only realize it when I look at my bank statement. It's like, oh yeah, you sent $5.99 to Anuki.
Well, here's the thing. First of all, it's Anuki Dio. Second of all,
I'm sorry.
It's okay. So that's how subscriptions work, Zach.
Yeah,
subscription. We live in a subscription based society, Zach.
Right.
Where you pay monthly for things you didn't even know you were paying for, and then you're like, well, I mean, I'm already paying for it, so I'll keep paying for it. And that's how they get you, Zach.
Yeah, that's how you got me.
That's how you... No, I didn't get you. That's how Twitch got you.
Yeah, that's true.
That's how it works, Zach, in this fundamental society that is subscription-based. If I bought Netflix, Zach, I would still have Netflix. If I did a free trial, Zach, I would still have Netflix. Because you know what free trials do, Zach?
They reel you in.
They reel you in, Zach. They really do. They really do, Zach. You know what I mean? Because if you get Spotify, Zach, 3 months for free, code Zach, and then they download 100 songs, and they use it for 3 months, and then 3 months passes, and they're like, well, shit, I have 100 songs in here, bro. I can't just,
Yeah.
Well, it's only $12.99, right? I don't know.
Yeah,
I guess I'll keep going. That's how they get you, Zach. That's how they do it. Classic. Did I mention I like marketing? Although I don't know if that technically classes as marketing per se, but I do find that area fascinating as well.
That's true.
Especially coming from, we weren't born into the age of subscription, but we were, it became a thing during our time.
Yeah.
So, do you ever miss physical form media, DVDs, Blu-rays?
Dude, I used to love the shelf of DVDs that we used to have. Or I mean, we still have all the DVDs and everything, but it's just we don't use them for anything because, my dad has like 20 terabytes of movies and stuff.
Yeah. Well, your dad was kind of like a kick in the front door, foot in the door. There you go. Before I think a lot of others, because having on a server like that, like a not a Plex server necessarily, although you might have used Plex, I don't know, but a home server, right?
Yeah.
And then owning things digitally, through means that I'll let you guys imagine. By the way, welcome to Uneducation Station.
Yeah, I was waiting for you to stop talking so I could do that. So
yes, hello, welcome.
Yeah.
But yeah, I mean us too, except we haven't really done that yet because we got subscriptions. We do have a Hulu, because it came with our package with our internet provider. And I think HBO Max as well. So, we ended up enveloping into that. But yes, we also have not the DVD shelves or anything, but we had just cabinets and we had DVDs there, a bunch of classics, and it's a little sad, but at the same time you think about it and you ever it is cool, but when you think about, I don't know, the amount of living space you can claw back from just removing shelves of, things like media that you can have in a flash. I don't have a flash drive on me.
Yeah.
It is pretty interesting. Oh, you're going to do the SD card? Well, you can't really... I mean, I guess you can. You can kind of read and write from an SD card, but it's not like... If you watch a movie from an SD card, you need to chill for a bit.
Yeah. Also, the reason why I have this camera is strictly for decorative purposes. Like, I just was kind of like, meh.
Well, I mean, you bring it just with you in your bag, so it's like...
why not?
Why go ahead? Why not?
Yeah.
I do want to build what's super ironic, Zach. This is crazy, by the way. This is just one of those examples of why the world is crazy and it works in mystical ways.
Mm-hmm.
Recently, I've been looking into building home servers.
Mm-hmm.
It's something just like I just kind of thought about. I think I told you about it before, how it'd be cool to do that, especially since a lot of us use computers here, so why not? It would be cool. Have a network, that type of thing. And it'd be a fun project as well, right?
Yeah.
So recently, like literally a couple days ago, 2 to 3 days ago max, I was looking at budgets to home servers. This morning, Zach, Linus drops a video on how to make your own server from an old computer. And I was like, no fucking shit. No way.
Dude, I love how the universe works in mysterious ways like that. Like, you know, the second you start doing research on something, that's when you start seeing, you know, like once we started talking about figures, the Anime Man was like top 10 worst
I remember that. I remember
figures.
that.
Yeah.
When we're talking about bootleg figures, right?
Yeah.
I remember that. Dude.
It's
What do you think? Okay, this is getting on a really weird turn, but do you think it's just like I went to bed, like I obtained this information, I went to bed, when I woke up I entered a parallel, I changed bodies with someone who wasn't looking into like a different alternate universe of me who didn't look into home service at that moment.
Yeah.
We traded lives when we woke up, Zach, right?
Right.
And then I entered his life where Linus makes it, you know what I mean? Where he makes a video on, you know, you ever think about that, Zach? I mean, not to step into weird turf, right? Not to do that.
Yeah.
Right. But, you know, I watch Rick and Morty. I think it's kind of fascinating.
You know, I think the interesting thing is when you really sit down and think about like the butterfly effect. So like one thing can end up drastically impacting the future in so many different ways. You know, I think that the fact that the video was made has nothing to do with you, but at the same time, you acknowledging that video came out when it did, and also just impeccable timing.
Yes.
You know, I think that just kind of everything just fell into place in such an obscurely perfect way.
God is just playing a butterfly effect skill check game on us, Zach.
No, he's playing butterfly effect bingo, and he's about to hit bingo. It's so funny.
And he hasn't used the free card yet because he's a thug.
Yeah. Gonna get a bingo without the free space. So I did want to talk about the last episode a little bit. By the way, if you guys haven't seen the last episode, it's really, really cool.
Yes, I recommend watching it and not listening because it's a bit of an adventure. And we built a keyboard together.
Yes. So
a little different. But.
Yeah. So Ben called me last night because I sent him a Snapchat of the keyboard that we built.
Oh, yeah.
And he was like, bro, what the fuck? And I was like, I'm sorry. Like, he's been trying to get me onto into the building keyboards and everything like that for a really long time. And so
I did it first. Gotcha, bitch. Get fucked.
No, but it was like I didn't know, you know, if I would have known.
Yeah, it was a whole surprise thing. Listen, Ben, if you're watching this now, or maybe not, I don't know. It was a surprise. I didn't even think I was going to do it until prior to the week, and I was like, you know what, this would be great. So this was not Zach's fault. You can still build a keyboard with him, by the way. You can never have too many keyboards, Zach. So you know you can still have a time.
Yeah, but I just thought it was so funny, the timing of it all, like.
And frankly, all we did was mod a keyboard.
Yeah.
And I did a lot of the you know, the heavy lifting. So he can still show you how to like build it from the ground up still.
Yeah.
There's still more to learn and still not accidentally dip your foot too far into the pool.
Yeah.
So you're okay. You're fine. You still have plenty of room to touch the water and then say, all right, bet, and then get out.
Yeah. Yeah, I think this is going to be one of those rabbit holes that I want to go down really badly, but at the same time, I know that it's an absolute money pit.
It is. You're fine. Just be careful. Just be very careful. Be very vigilant. If you see the videos on YouTube, Zach, don't click them. If you see it, but does your space bar sound like this? Don't click it, Zach.
Because then I'll want my space bar to sound like that.
Well, your space bar does sound like that, so it's okay.
It does, dude. It's so funny. I was sitting there, obviously monkey typing as one might, you know, just having a time in my room, and I realized just how quiet it was. But it's quiet, but not like stealth.
Well, the keyboard that you have, Zach, right now, it's loud.
Yeah,
it's very clickety. It's very clacky, and it's loud. And you know, to be fair, when you're into this hobby, you know, you care about sound profiles. So whether it be loud, quiet, high pitched, low pitched, you know, that type of stuff takes into account of what you want to do, right? So for me, I prefer that higher pitched sound rather than the lower talk, right?
Yeah.
Not that that's bad, because my current keyboard talks. My first keyboard talks, and I want my end game keyboard to be a more higher pitcher kind of, you know, hit, I suppose, a sound. And I really enjoy that. Whenever I listen to that, even to your keyboard, Zach, I enjoyed that a lot more. So that's kind of what I'm going for. And I think the keyboard I will mod with my brother, which I mentioned the other time, will fuck as well.
I think the cool thing for me was to be completely blindsided by this. Like, you told me nothing. Like,
yeah, I told him nothing. Absolutely nothing. I told him nothing.
I want to emphasize this a lot because in the episode, I was like, I have no idea what's going on. And I totally could have been bullshitting you, but I was not.
No, it was not acting. It was true. It was true. I told him nothing. I was surprised you didn't get an inkling after I asked you about the keyboard. But I guess then though all I asked was that, hey, can you give me the 60% back? Because that keyboard I gave him is mine. Well, I guess it was Alvin's technically. And then we swapped it, blah, blah, blah. Then I was like, hey, can I get that? I gave it to Zach a while ago and I said, can I get it back? I'm going to do something. I'll give you another keyboard. This is what I did. So it was pretty natural. I'm pretty good at that.
Nice. Yeah. So I had no idea what the hell was going on. He was setting up my camera. So I brought my R6 for the third angle and it was like the super pretty.
Yeah, it was right up on your thingies, but it was obviously not the most ideal for normal use that we'd use it for. So you're like, what the fuck? But
it worked.
It worked. I'm surprised you still didn't know after we monkey typed. Unless you did at that point, but I'm not sure. It didn't seem like you did. So I was like, wow. Okay,
so I
was glad you didn't see the box right next to me with all the parts. I was like, oh man, this is really gonna reveal it if he sees it, because usually you set up, but I set up this time. I think, I finished setting up. So
yeah, finished setting up before I even got here.
Which is a rare commodity. Usually I'm brushing my teeth while Zach sets everything up. You see how the rodeo goes.
I mean, yeah, but it was a lot of fun. Our longest episode was us doing stuff, but there is a caveat to that being our longest episode, because it is not the longest episode without an activity attached to it.
Yeah, it was the first time. Yeah. It was the first time we had an activity, I think. Yeah, it is. The first time we didn't just talk, right? As a podcast show, obviously. So I kind of consider that a wild card. It will obviously be an episode. It'll just be episode, I think it's going to be 43. And, it'll count as an episode, and I will put it on Spotify. I will add a little disclaimer, though. I think in the beginning of it has not gone up at the time of recording, but it will, of course, by the time you guys are watching. It will go up last week. So, wait, right? Yeah.
Yeah.
So, basically, what I'm trying to get at is I really recommend watching it. I will add a disclaimer where if you already know about keyboards and don't care, you can skip to the build section, because in the build section, we do actually start talking. We do start chatting. So we go back to podcast mode, because in the beginning, obviously, I was teaching you how to lube and stuff. And it was very, a little tedious, a little quiet, a lot of focus mode, a lot of concentration, boys. But afterwards, when we got into the flow of things, we just kind of started chatting, which is usually how it goes. So, a summary of my point of last episode, or the keyboard building episode. Just try it out. Whether it be you have a mechanical keyboard that's hot swap, I'm pretty sure every mechanical keyboard that is hot swap comes with a keycap puller. Yank that bitch out. If it doesn't, hey, you got to buy a kit anyway. So buy a lube kit. I bought one for like $20. Came with its own lube. I didn't even use it all. Lube that bitch up. It takes a while. But, you get in a call with your boys, watch a podcast that might be this and might not be this. Listen to that album you've been putting off,
Yeah.
There you go. Or even less, just change the keycaps.
Yeah.
Have a time. There's a lot of fun projects to add a little personality to your gamer keyboard that isn't just RGB.
Yeah. I would say the coolest thing is having it be unique.
Mm-hmm.
Like that, the keyboard that you gave me, that we built, is the first keyboard that I have ever really customized in any capacity, because it was like we're talking about me getting a new keyboard and like all that kind of stuff, and I'm glad that I didn't, because I was about this close to buying a new keyboard just for the sheer fact that I wanted something different, and Arthur's doing something. I don't know what he's doing.
Oh, I'm just putting my Rhino Shield case back on because it was off, because I was cleaning my phone. Because when I work, Zach, in the environment that I work, there's a lot of dust and things flying in the air
and gross stuff.
Well, not necessarily gross stuff. I can't say gross stuff considering we work in a food industry, but I mean, it's ingredients, you know. I opened the other day. God help me that day. But that's besides the point. I just took it off to clean it. Do not worry. I love Rhino Shield and I would love to have them as a sponsor. I'm working on that. Anyways.
Wait, are you actually working on it?
Well, I haven't yet, but I'd love to. I think I can make it happen in a bit. But it would help if you had one too. No, I'm just kidding.
I'll get one.
Anyways, so personalization, Zach.
Yes.
Is that what, I don't know if that's going to be what we talk about, but listen, all right.
I would love for that to be what
I just want to talk about it because there's all sorts of levels. There's the wallpaper you choose on your phone.
Mm-hmm.
There's the case that you use. By the way, can you tell who my favorite guy or girl is now?
Mm-hmm.
All right, cool. You know, keycaps on your keyboard or lubing it, changing the sound, or rather, let me rephrase that. From all the way down to the mud of changing the switches and lubing them and foam and modding them and stuff, or just changing the keycaps. There's different levels of personality changes, you know. Same with clothes. You can just put on, you know, like something that really reflects you as a person, or you can put on some fucking Louis Vuitton drip type shit, right?
Yeah.
You know, there's all sorts of levels to personalization, and I think that's great because, you know, you don't have to get too sweaty about it. But you know, I think obviously, you know, appearance isn't everything, of course, right? But what appearance is what reflects you as a person, as in like, well, what do you want to get someone to know about you initially, I suppose, right?
Yeah.
You know?
Yeah, and you know, it's really interesting because personalization and customization is a really easy way to show a side of your personality that you wouldn't necessarily see otherwise. And like, you know, it helps that I have like music tattoos and there's a bunch of music stuff behind me and all of that. And you know,
do you think this guy likes music? Probably. Yeah. There you go.
Yeah.
Look at that.
Probably because he has a music tattoo. That's weird. You know, it's like being able to make it so that the stuff that you really care about, you know, whether it's like a shirt from your favorite show or your favorite anime, or, you know, it's just like a brand that you really like, or like your comfy clothes, you know, you can learn a lot about someone just from the way that they look and the way that they present themselves. And obviously that's not the rabbit hole that we're going down, but, you know, being like having fun with it and just being
bro. We're like, you know, Zach, we like to have fun here, Zach, you know?
We like to have fun here in the
That's
office.
why I always try and put on different shirts, you know?
Yeah.
I'm running out though. I'm like really close because as a person who does not socialize very much, I don't own very many clothing.
See, I am the worst about that. And I'm wearing a hoodie and I'm wearing a shirt that I haven't worn on the show, I don't think.
No, you've worn that hoodie.
No, the shirt that's under the hoodie.
Oh, okay. That you haven't worn?
Yeah.
So you're going to wear the hoodie that you have worn.
Continuity error. Hang on.
Yikes. Okay, he's going for it. But, you know, I'm getting there. But at the same time, I really like, I've been buying more anime merch, just, you know, obviously, naturally, right? As one does if you're a guy like me and finally has a job and has a reason to buy clothes.
Right.
So, I've been doing that. I've been wearing that recently. I will say, Zach, I used to think like just, you know, shirts like this. I don't know what. This doesn't say sakura. No, these aren't kanji for sakura. So I don't know what maybe it's. No, it wouldn't be hana. I don't know what this is, but this means person. So I don't know. I don't know. Pink person. I don't fucking know.
Pink person.
Pink person. There you go.
Sure.
Look at that shirt. But I got after I used to think, and I think maybe you did too, and maybe after you started learning Japanese more, you kind of got over it. I'm not sure, but just wearing clothes that just is like Tokyo, like in Japanese or something, is so cheesy now.
Yeah.
Like this shirt is pretty. Like it's a nice shirt. It's great, but it's so cheesy. I'm just looking at it like, bro, really? I don't know, like, because now I own like other shirts, like anime shirts and shirts that have Japanese text too. That means more than just like, you know, Tokyo, Japan, and I mean, obviously, you know, represent. You know, people walk around with like, you know, LA shirts and stuff. You know, and you know, they're or even like their hometown shirts and stuff. That's fine, but I used to think it's like the most coolest aesthetic shit to walk around with like it's just a shirt that says Tokyo. Like, wow, look at this guy. He's so fucking cool. No, it's just so corny now. So, it's great.
I think it's so funny when you see those shirts that are like live, laugh, love, but it's in Japanese. And so
and it's like, oh man, he's so cool.
He's so cultured. Wow. A generic white person quote in Japanese.
It's so funny. So I'm glad I've kind of I don't know. I thought it was funny because I just transitioned from just like this weird period of that. They are good shirts, but the design. No, actually, you know what? What pulled me off actually wasn't necessarily the fact that it was corny and I was been learning Japanese more. It's that I started seeing them like more often. And no, I went to a store that had a bunch of them, right? Mm-hmm. And when I went to Lincoln City, and Lincoln City, have you been to Lincoln City before?
Mm-hmm.
The outlet.
Oh yeah.
I'm not gonna name the store, but it's a great store though, although it's a little more hipstery, I suppose. I went to the store and there's a bunch of like, those type of shirts, right? Shirts. I bought this shirt there.
Yeah.
And there's a bunch of shirts like that. And I was like, oh, that's pretty sick, bro. This is fucking sick. I bought like 2 shirts there.
Hell yeah.
Including this one. I was like, fuck yeah, dude. Go next year, Zach. It's the same shirts. I'm like, no fucking way. Zach,
boy.
I go next year, it's the same shirts. And I'm like, what? Slightly different. No. Not different design, different colors. I'm like, no fucking way. So I'm just like, wow. I no longer, I don't know. Bro. Okay. Bruv. Come on,
okay. Bruv. It's just like,
I mean, if it ain't broke, don't fix it. Obviously, I'm not gonna, if I see a cool black shirt, Fred Meyer, and then next week I still see it there and I'd be like, oh man, these fucking boring ass people. I'm not gonna, get too mad about it.
Right.
But it just made me realize it's not as, aesthetic, as I thought it once was.
Yeah, I don't know, man. Like the shirts like I Heart Humanity from No Game No Life, like that shirt is really cool.
Well, yeah.
And I love that shirt. And I was about this close to trying to steal it from you. But it's like when it's not just something generic just for the sake of being generic, like you'll probably see shirts in Tokyo like I Heart New York and like that kind of stuff. Yeah. And it's just like, tourism has to tourism, I guess. But when you're in Lincoln City, nowhere near anywhere that has any type of like
Asian representation at all. I think there might be a maybe not. I don't think so. Why would it be Japanese, anyways?
Yeah,
I think it's just because Tokyo is here in the West is just considered like super aesthetic, right?
Yeah,
just as itself because not even anime, just like you've seen Tokyo. You dabble in pictures that are in there, right?
Yeah.
You take a couple of them here and there.
Yeah,
guy like
me,
take a couple pictures,
maybe a few
every now and then. Sometimes, with your point and shoot green stock wedding camera. Do they still do that? Like they have the like the little point and shoot buddies in weddings, like the green ones, plastic. You know what I'm talking about?
I know
little shitters.
I know exactly what you're talking about.
Or I guess they don't really need to do that anymore because we all have phones. Never mind.
Yeah, I mean,
I remember a day when I'm boomer. Shit, I'm doing it. I almost did it, Zach. I'm not gonna do it. I'm not gonna do it. I almost did it.
So the little Kodak
yes
point and shoots, those used to be the shit. Now they're coming back apparently for some reason.
Well, that always happens, right? The same reason why what is it called? The shit that the camera Polaroid.
Yeah.
There's the same reason why that's coming back, right? Because the old is the new, right?
Vintage.
Yeah. But what was I trying to say? Oh yeah. Tokyo, like, you've seen sorry, I went on a yeah, I just gotta touch pictures. You've seen pictures of, like Japan, right? Tokyo and that type of stuff.
Yeah.
Whether it be nightlife, whether it be, city photography, landscape photography. We all look at it. I need to show you a Twitter user, I guess, that I follow who does a bunch of like photography in Japan. Bro, their color grading is beautiful. I'm gonna show you them. Remind me to show you them because they're probably my favorite, like Japanese photographer Twitter, if you will.
Yeah.
God, I love that shit. Eat that shit up. And I love my landscape type shit. Ugh! Love that shit.
I love seeing just in the middle of the night city life in Tokyo. Like it is the most beautiful thing. And people will say the same thing about like New York City and that kind of stuff, but it's like if you've seen one picture of New York City, you've seen every picture of New York City.
It's the same.
It's the same. But I don't know why, but Tokyo just kind of has, or like even anywhere in Japan, really, there's just like that life that comes out of all of the pictures that people take over there. And like that's one of the main reasons I want to go to Japan, because I want to go take pictures.
Yeah, for sure. I mean, I am the type of guy where I don't like taking pictures. Sorry to shit on your hobbies. No, I'm just kidding. Not in that sense.
I'll just go fuck myself.
Get fucked, Zach. No, not in that way. What I mean is that I'm the type of person who doesn't take pictures to save the moment.
Yeah,
I like living the moment. Like when I went to my first concert, Logic concert, I didn't even I didn't even like take a picture or took a video. I'm that type of guy. Although going to a concert and taking a trip somewhere is a little different. I'm obviously going to take pictures, but
right.
I probably won't do as much. Like you may expect me to vlog or something. I'm not going to do that. One, I already know it's very hard to record in Japan. You have to get permission and all that type of stuff. I already know that. Two, it would just be a fucking foreigner walking around with a damn camera. Like, hey, what's good, guy? No, I'm not going to be that guy.
Welcome to the vlog.
Welcome to the vlog. I'm in the mystical land of Japan. And then there's what the fuck, bro? And so I'm not going to be that guy. I'd like to be respectful, also as an Asian who understands that type of thing, where, just some fucking foreigner comes through and, tries to shake up what exists here. Like, okay, whatever. And not that they would feel that way necessarily, they're great people, I'm sure. But obviously you got to know what you got to understand, you're in somewhere else right now. Yeah. You want to respect what's going on there, but at the same time, I would still like to take pictures and take videos every now and then, right? So I'll take my camera and we'll have a time. And I know you're going to take your camera and you're going to have a time. So it'll be great. I would love to go to Japan, but I am not interested in going to, well, of course I am, of course, but like the main Tokyo, those major points, right? Shibuya's Tokyo. Osaka, Okinawa, those type of places. I want to go like to weird type or not the main spots, right? Like go up to Hokkaido. Well, that might be a little bit of a reach, but or northern Japan or just different type of places because Japan is rich for domestic tourism.
Yeah.
The reason why people never leave Japan is because it's just so varied and vast, and you can experience a lot of things within Japan. So everybody just does different things in Japan. And I want to experience that as well. Go to Kyoto, go to all sorts of places other than just, sit in Tokyo and walk around the city for like a day and like, that's fucking sick. And then walk around the city the next day. Wow, that's the same thing. That's fucking sick. And then,
Yeah, I would definitely be super keen. And I know that we were talking about going to Tokyo Disney, which can totally happen, by the way.
Of course.
Like, it's going to happen.
Of course.
We literally wrote out, like, we made a list of like how much it would cost for me to fly over there.
This was before you had a job. So we were figuring out like, okay, if you get a job, how much are you gonna get paid? If you get paid this amount, how long? We went pretty hardcore with it, and it was a lot of fun.
Yeah,
just to kind of stretch my calculus muscle.
Yeah, and then that didn't end up happening because
cabbage.
Rona.
Yeah.
But yeah, now that I can kind of afford it, or like now I can actively save up for that.
Yeah.
Like
you're in a much better position to figure it out now.
Yeah.
So.
And it's kind of funny because yesterday, so we were sitting watching anime last night, and my brother just waltzed into my room. He doesn't live with us anymore. He just kind of came in.
Oh, and that's okay. Now I can see why that'd be kind of. I forgot he moved out, so now I see how that could be kind of a little odd, or not necessarily. Like oh, there you be.
Yeah, just like, oh, hey, what's up?
Hey, there you are.
And he was talking to me about how he wanted to go to Vegas with me in March. And he was sitting there like, now you got to make sure that you save your money. And I'm like, dude, I've been a good boy. I've been trying to save my money as much as I can.
Yeah, you almost bought a lens. You were this close. You were this close.
You were
a Snapchat away, Zach.
Well, I mean, I did that on purpose. I made sure that I told someone that I was about to make a poor financial choice so that you would tell me not to, and if I did anyways, then you would scold me for it.
Yes.
And so it was all part of my master plan.
Yes, it worked out.
Yeah, but I mean, you know, I'm really happy to feel like I'm financially stable and I can save up for trips like this. And you know, we were talking about how it would cost like $3,000 for the whole trip or something like that.
I think so. It's been a while, but there was a number, a goal where, because, you know, plane ticket, of course, and living expenses, that type of stuff, you know, but you have to think about how much you want to spend while you're there, you know, how, because, you know, that's going to directly reflect what you experience there, right?
Yeah.
How much do you want for souvenirs? How much are you going to have left over, right?
Yeah.
Because a budget, in my mind, a budget doesn't necessarily mean this is the max you can spend it, and then you go. A budget is a safety net.
Yeah.
So you don't have to necessarily max the budget out. I think that's a bad thing, because if you max the budget out, then your adventure ends.
Yeah.
And also you're fucking sweating because you're like, oh shit, I ran out of money.
Yeah.
And I'm not I am miles from home right now.
Yeah.
So I'm like, oh well, shit. You know, I think that I chose a number where we can fly there and back, or like a round trip there, able to rent rooms and such.
Yeah.
Whether that be in one city or different cities, travel, transportation, food, and still, you know, goods and such.
Yeah.
Even if we splurge, and we would still have money left over to do anything rash if we needed to, or just have money left in our pockets.
Yeah. To go to, you know, Canon in Tokyo. My button isn't working for some reason. Sometimes.
Is it not? Hit a 1 for me, my guy. There we go.
That's annoying.
Yeah.
I might have to do a double click boy, but yeah, it's really interesting because I look at that trip now a lot differently than I did then, because now it just seems so much more feasible. And now it's more about like finding the time to be able to go and do it, as opposed to like, oh God, how am I going to scrape this money together?
So for your job, it's a little different than mine. Do you have to like wait for vacation time, or can you just like say, hey, I'm going to be gone, and then, you know, let them know?
I can request time off. And you know, the further out that you request that time off, the better.
Right. Of course.
And so, I mean, I ended up doing paid time off for the week of Thanksgiving, which was nice because I got my PTO like right in the beginning of November, because that was like right after my first 90 days.
I just want to say really quick, for those youngins who are just getting about to get their jobs, schedule your vacations ahead of time. Please God, do that. Please.
Yeah.
Sure. Please do that. Don't be, hey, I'm going to be out of town in 2 days. Don't ever do that. Please God. It ruins everything. I don't even plan the schedule and I feel stressed.
Yeah.
Because there's a lot of moving around and shit. I hate that, you know?
Yeah. And the more heads up that you give employers, the better. Because I brought up the fact that I was going on this trip in like September. You know, and so like there was a lot of time for us to plan it out, to book flights, all of that kind of stuff. And then I didn't end up actually going to Vegas for that trip, but you know, I still had that week where I just wasn't working, and it just so happened that my parents were going over to Arizona to go pick up a trailer, so they needed someone to stay and watch the animals, and I was like, sure, fuck it. Like I basically was getting paid to take care of my animals, which was pretty fine. So it was like
right,
you know, whatever. And you know, it's really cool when I'm able to talk to my brother. Like Kevin, like I said earlier, Kevin was asking me about a trip to Vegas that he wants to go to in March. I'm like, I bet, you know, I'll put in like my time off request in like January, because that's probably the earliest that I would want to do it, and that's probably when we're going to be like booking flights and doing all that kind of stuff. That'll give my employers enough time to like, you know, figure out how the shifts are going to look. I'm probably only going to miss like 3 or 4 days of work, which is not that bad. And so, you know, it's just kind of like the order of operations for that kind of thing. I love how we went from talking about like tourism to talking about like the practicalities of booking vacations, but you know,
classic adult talk. You know, these kids and they're I'm gonna drive to California this weekend. All right, you let your boss know that, please God.
Your boss calls you, yo, are you coming in tomorrow? And
he's like, oh no, I'm gonna get someone to cover my shift. Don't worry, give me a sec. Don't do that. Anyways, sorry.
They're like, yo, I'm in San Diego right now.
This sounds super targeted because it kind of is, but it's not. I don't know. You know.
So I will say that as much as we'll sit here and talk shit and like point fingers and be like, don't be that guy. You know, there have been times where things have just kind of come up and I'm like, oh God.
Well, I mean, that's fine, of course. I'm talking about a trip.
Oh, no. I'm saying like, I thought that I wasn't going on a trip. And then I found out the night before that I was going on a trip. And I was like, oh my God. And my parents already booked their flight and they didn't tell me about it. And I'm like, oh shit. You know,
I suppose that, that definitely does happen. But for me, my family books trips like probably a week, maybe, no, usually the week of.
Oh God.
The week of, maybe the week before. And then if we're lucky, maybe a month before. But it's usually not like that. So I have not been able to go on trips with them because my work schedule is so spread out that I never have more than 2 days to myself, or 2 days off, I suppose.
Yeah, like 2 days off in a row.
Right.
Yeah.
You know, that's the most I'll ever get usually. So it's like, fuck, dude. I can't go on these trips because y'all keep planning it way too early, and it's really hard for me to get time off because basically with the way our work is, we have a calendar, and basically it's just first come first serve. You put your name on there and you can request off.
Yeah.
It's basically how it goes. What happens is beginning of the year, everybody grabs that calendar, fills that bitch out. I'm like, oh fuck.
And then you're just kind of having to fill in the gaps.
And I got to sit here and just like, God, no, I can't fill in anything exact because there's no damn plans there yet. I won't know until that same week.
You're like, I won't know until the night before.
Because what happened was before we were all chilling, Zach, we were all kids and we were like, all right, let's go. And they had big boy jobs, but they had jobs where they saved their time off and they invoked that time off together in tandem. All right, perfect. Everything works out. Now kids have jobs now, but we don't have a job where we have allotted time off.
Right.
So it's like, shit, I have to make sure that I can switch shifts. And I hate doing that because it's really annoying for the scheduler. You know, who can cover me that day if I can't switch. It's a massive mess. So that's also a reason why, you know, I hate when that happens because it's just so stressful. So I haven't been able to go on a lot of trips with my family, and what my point is on your parents' side as well. It's their fault for planning the trip so soon when they know you have a job, basically.
Right.
And you know, they know my job schedule. They understand that it's chaotic. So if you're gonna do that, you better be aware that, hey, I'm not gonna be there if you do that.
Yeah.
There's just absolutely no way unless luck is on my side, which has happened sometimes. Not often. Usually it's not the case. So, you know, it's whatever. You're like, all right, we're gonna do a trip. Like, well, shit. This is basically you just said, hey, we're gonna go without you. It's basically how that goes.
Yeah, it's really funny because like last week, I think I told you about this. My parents and Kevin went to Vegas to go see my oldest brother, and they went without me. And when I was talking to Kevin last night, he was like, oh, look who decided that they didn't want to go to Vegas. And I was like, bro, I was not invited. Like, I was told, Zach, you're staying home and taking care of the animals. And I was like, okay, cool, whatever. I did not decline. I was denied the opportunity to be able to go and nice. I was denied the opportunity to be able to go and actually do said thing. But I think that you and I are going to be able to plan the... Wait, what happened?
No, keep going.
Oh, sorry. We're going to be able to plan like a pretty killer trip if we do Tokyo Disney or, you know, whatever we decide that we're going to do. You know, it's going to be lit, bro.
You freaking lit. All right, I guess we don't have no third camera. I bet.
I bet.
I would love
GoPro did a death.
GoPro freaking died. That's great. But yes, I would love, obviously, weebs. Obviously, we're going to Japan at some point, Zach. Come on now. Now. Of course. So, it's just a matter of time. And it's just like, for everybody who wants to travel right now, it just sucks right now,
Yeah.
And it sucks, especially because now we're both at the position where we're able to travel if we want to, and now we can't.
Yeah.
So it's like, fuck, really? Of course, obviously, I'm not complaining like, I don't get to travel. Yeah. I'm not, that's not what I'm talking about,
Yeah. And I think the fact that we want to travel so much, it's that sounded painful.
I hit my foot on the bottom of my chair. It's okay. It wasn't that bad, but it hurt initially.
So I think it's really cool that we want to go and travel and experience things outside of, Washington, because, there are a lot of people who don't really get an opportunity to go out of the country or even out of the state. Like I know some people who have lived in Washington their entire lives, and the furthest they've gone out of state is Portland, and so like I'm really fortunate and I'm really lucky to be pretty well traveled. Like I've traveled across the US, like I've been in Mexico, I've done all of that stuff, and I'm really, really grateful for the opportunity for me to be able to do all that stuff.
Mm-hmm.
It's just really cool because now I want to go to different places for a different reason than when I was younger. Because, it was just like, oh, I want to go to Mexico. Yay. And now I'm like, I don't want to be anywhere near Mexico. and okay.
Yikes.
Let me say this. I have nothing against the entire country of Mexico. It's just the tourism in Mexico is really, really weird, and like it's kind of sketch.
Sounds about right.
And so once you get past like the touristy destinations, I'm sure that it's a lot of fun to be over there, and I'm sure that there's a lot of stuff to do, and I'm sure it's a nice place to be. But when you're in like Cabo San Lucas and just surrounded by people who are trying to sell you things, it's like
sure.
So yeah, that's why I don't really want to travel there. But that's that's nothing against Mexico.
Oh, don't worry, Zach.
Yeah.
I have a buddy who is Mexican, goes to Mexico. He's like, yeah, it's pretty fucking sketch. So I'm like, don't worry, your claims are validated. Everybody, it's like as a certified Mexican, I can agree.
Yeah. But there are a lot of places that I want to travel to that are a little bit further away. Like I would love to go to Japan. I would love to go to Europe. Go to the UK. That would be super, super fun.
Oh yeah, I'm not saying like I'm just a diehard weeb. I go to Japan and that's it. Obviously I want to explore. Laos, my home country. I want to explore other Asian countries. Korea, South Korea, that is, of course.
I would be interested to see you try to go to North Korea.
I'll figure it out. And
like, all I got is my vlog camera and a dream.
I'll figure it out. It's all good. And I go to, China, Taipei. I want to go to all places. So I just like I mean maybe because I'm Asian I have that, but I just want to explore more of my home continent, I suppose. But Asian culture just interests me in general. So
yeah,
it's not just Japan. It's not just Japan, but of course Japan's a big focus, and that would be fantastic. And when they open back up, that'd be fantastic. I think they opened up for a bit. No, they opened up to leave, I think, for momentarily. And then they, brought them back or something like that. Quarantine, the 14-day quarantine, that type of thing. And now I think they closed back because of the variant type of thing that's going on.
Yeah, I'm not surprised by that.
Yeah, unfortunate. But, I'm not... Again, I'm not complaining necessarily because I don't get to fly on a plane. That's not necessarily that, but it's also just that it's you got to think of it, right? You're out of high school, right? Maybe out of college,
yeah.
Or taking a break like me. I have a job, and I've been saving up because I haven't made any major purchases in my life. Well, I mean, every here or there, but nothing crazy.
Yeah.
I can travel now. Technically, I've traveled by myself. I can figure it out now. It's my time, Zach. And then they say, no, you can't. It's all because you're fine. It's all you know. You don't gotta do it because because this is happening. I'm like, oh fuck. So that's just where I'm coming from. Someone imagine you hit 21 and you drink for the first time. Right? Let's say you're that. You've been a good boy and you staved. I feel like that was the right word. I don't know. Off for till you're 21, and you're 21. You're like, let's go, and the bars are closed.
And you're like, fuck.
And then maybe in an alternate universe, alcoholism is abolished, and there's no more alcohol or something, or rather,
we're back in the 1920s.
It's temporarily abolished or some shit like that.
Yeah.
There's some sort of alcohol war going on or whatever. God help that universe, Zach. But it just happens. And you're like, okay, I hit 21. Let's go. No, you get to wait until we settle this. And you're like, damn it. Or imagine,
damn it,
you get your license, Zach. Or you pass driving school. Let's go. And you get your license. But you get your intermediate license, and you can't drive without a person, who, what is it, without your parents or something. Was that what it was?
Oh, it was a driver's permit.
Driver's permit, where you can't drive without your intermediate family, I believe.
Yeah, I think it was.
Like it had to be your parents.
Either a parent, a guardian, or someone who's had their license for at least 5 years.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And you're like, thick.
It's so funny.
Imagine that.
It's so funny to think that I've been driving for almost 6 years.
Yeah, I've been driving. I started a little late. I started my junior year. I started learning to drive my junior year. So I started a bit late, but I got there. So that would be 5 years.
Yeah.
Yeah, 5 years.
Yeah.
Not bad.
No. Yeah, and the hard thing, I guess, for us is like, we just want to go and explore and do things, and the world's just like, nah, you don't get to do that. And I think it'd be very interesting to see how you and I travel with each other, just because I think it'd be so funny. Just
in what way?
I mean, you know me. I'm a very goofy, like, my parents called me the Wanderer when I was younger, because I would just kind of like keep walking and just go places and get lost. And so, I mean,
the difference between today is we have GPS, so we're chilling.
Yeah, I got you on Snap Maps. It's fine.
Yeah, we'll sneak air tags on each other and we'll track each other.
I don't have an iPhone anymore, but
I think it still works.
Yeah, but I think it'd be really interesting to see how that goes. And I know that it's not going to be like super problematic or anything like that. I just feel like you're gonna kind of be like my chaperone.
Well, I'm not. So normally I'm not that person, because frankly I'm not I'm not the social guy. I already established this, Zach.
Yeah.
Did I ever say one time I was at work, right, and we had someone from California come by, right, and it was just me and someone else. So it was like a Monday or something like that. So nothing too busy. We're just chilling. Someone from California, or so she comes through with her girls. It's like, hey, we're from California. We're trying to see what's up right now. Is there anything cool to do? And I'm like, girl, I got no clue. She's like, is there anything to do here in Vancouver or Portland? I'm like, bro, I don't fucking know. You're like asking the last person, bro. I never leave my house. Zach, I still don't know the answer to this question. I don't know what to do here.
It's funny. I had a conversation very similar to that day before yesterday, with someone who just started working at the coffee shop over by our high school. And she was like, yeah, I've been living here for, like 3 months now. And what started that conversation is I was like, yeah, so I work in Tigard. And she's like, where's that at? I was like, oh, it's like south of Portland, like 30-ish minutes from here. And she was like, oh, okay. I haven't lived here for a super long time. And I was like, oh, how long have you lived here? 3 months. And I'm like, oh, what are you doing here?
Yeah, why?
Yeah. And so I mean, I've had an opportunity to be able to kind of run around like a crazy person around here. And so, you know, I told her about some of the spots, some of like the hiking spots and those types of things.
Yeah, hiking is a big thing around here. Eh?
Yeah.
Yeah,
and
that's true.
The only reason why I know these things is because I was forced to do it by somebody else.
Fair.
So,
but that is part of it. It's like a semi-culture here, I think. Because I hear it a lot, very often. Like, you know, go hiking around here. You know. So I guess, but I couldn't even pull that out of my ass, Zach. And even if I did, I'd be like, bro, I don't know fucking any hiking trails. So, you know, I'm the last person. But if it's for a trip to Japan, I think,
but
I would probably go serious mode because I personally am interested into this, right? So I think you will as well. Like, obviously, you'll probably want spots you want to hit as well, right? So I think we'll both like figure out what we want to do and then figure out a reasonable schedule. Maybe not like pinpoint schedule, like, oh, we'll do this and this time. You know, probably not that sweaty about it.
Just like day by day.
Yeah, probably. Or maybe not even. Just like have a checklist and be like, and then okay, well, actually no, I think day by day might actually be a better idea. Never mind.
Yeah, because
at least you know.
Yeah, you know, if you're like, oh yeah, I'm gonna book a hotel here for this night, and then you know we can stay there for like 2 days, and then we can go over here, and
we'll definitely have to hotel hop.
Yeah, hotel hopping will probably be the way that we'll have to do it. But I love how this just kind of became us planning a trip to Japan.
It's been a while since we planned it,
dude,
so and you know all the details have kind of washed away. So we need to replan at some point. But I mean, frankly, there's no point in doing it now until you know it's just ready. But
until Japan is ready.
Until Japan is ready until the world is ready. So we'll just wait.
Yeah, but it's definitely really fun to just think that this thing that I've wanted to do basically for my entire life, like I love to travel. This one place that I've been wanting to go since I was a little kid, you know, it's feasible for me to be able to go there, and it's just wild. It's like, oh shit, okay, this is what being a grown up is about. You can you know, work to live, but you don't have to live to work. You know, like you can go and enjoy life and do crazy shit, like go skydiving, which I'm going to do, by the way. My brother did this thing in Vegas. It was kind of like bungee jumping, except for it was like you jump off of a building and then you're strapped into a harness, and then it basically just makes sure that you don't hit the ground. Like it slows you down before you hit the ground. And it's super cool. And I watched a video of him doing it, and I just want to do it now. And it's like, oh gosh, I think it's like 100 stories or something like that. Like a lot. So I kind of want to do it now. And of course I'm going to be looking at it with my, you know, toes hanging off the edge of this fucking building. It would be like, why did I put myself in this situation? But I'm going to do it.
All right, you do that, Zach. Because I'm not going to do that. But that's okay. I'm going to cheer you on, Zach. But I want to go back to, you brought a good point, like working to live but not living to, or yeah, working to live and not living to work. I think that's the way it went. I got to say, even though I've been clowning my family about, you know, the whole planning a trip like the week of and type of stuff for a week prior max, I got to say they do a really good job at planning, you know, using up their vacation time and making sure that, you know, because my entire family basically works, you know, those type of jobs, right? Office jobs, you know, those type of jobs. And, you know, as we all know, it's, you know, it's sucky, you know, and, you know, we all seen that SpongeBob meme of like, remember that scene of when SpongeBob and Patrick were trying to break Mrs. Puff out of jail. And then he was like, SpongeBob was like, oh, fuck, what was it? She's missing out the true beauty of life rather than be stuck in jail. And then it showed the sequence of that guy in like just straight face in like waking up in a car in a cubicle office at the window.
Yeah, like in the shower.
Yeah. I saw that like literally the other day and I was like, that's so fucking funny. Dude,
it's so crazy.
The true beauty, the true magic of life, you know? And I want to say, right, I know you want to say something, but that's not, you know, that's true. You know, a lot of people do live like that and it sucks. So I do got to praise my family for being able to not make it like that, to make it so that they can still have fun, to make it so that even on the weekends or even weekdays, we still come around and hang out and stuff, you know, and make it so that it is still fucking, it's still, I don't know, shitty or not. That's up to them to decide, I suppose. But they make it so that they are using their free time and using it wisely, I suppose.
Right.
And that's good. That's a good thing. And I do implore that. Dude, I fucking love that word. I say it so much. Implore. I implore you, Zach. I implore the people that if you end up in a job like that, maybe the average person goes to those type of jobs anyway. So it's like, or even more than the average goes to those type of jobs anyway. So it's don't worry. I'm not saying you're average if you go to no. Mm-hmm. And as I've explained before, tangent number 50 billion, those jobs are important. And I thank you for doing those type of jobs. But do your best to make sure it's not just a wake up in like dead in the morning, do this type tip. Yeah. For like, what is it? 8 hours.
8 hours a day.
Maybe overtime if God help you if you have to overtime. Go home, sleep, eat, sleep, and then wake up and do it again. Do your best to figure out a way to incorporate more into that system.
Right.
Somehow, some way. If my family were able to do it, then I'm sure you can figure it out as well. It might be tough and it might be weird to transition. You may have to make compromises. Maybe with how much you work, like workload wise. I'm not sure if you can control that. I don't work these type of jobs. Relying on your fellow staff members, that type of thing. I don't know. Whatever, situations are different. Office workspaces are different. Office work environments are different. So I'm sure you can figure it out. I believe in y'all. But again, I'm just talking to hopefully an empty void and maybe someone who ends up in that type of job. Hopefully that helps out. There was a point I was trying to make. What was the point I'm trying to make?
Working to live, not living to work.
That, yes. Well, I already made my point. Yeah, you can. It's possible. Yeah. Even in a job as dead as you think, it's still possible. I even have family members. Sorry. I even have family members who work night shifts,
right?
Graveyard shifts, still able to do it.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, it's interesting because the mentality that you have kind of changes over the course of time because you start to appreciate your free time more as opposed to you looking for things to do. You're like, I want to do absolutely nothing. And, I realize this more and more. On my days off when I'm not working, I pack in like 2 weeks worth of stuff to do, basically, with the show, with, like photography stuff, with just like this, that, and the other thing. Speaking of photography, I still need to freaking finish editing those pictures.
Don't worry, I've been there.
Well, I told them that I would give them to them on the 15th. What day is it today? The 13th. Okay. Well, as of recording this, it's the 13th. Yeah. I already gave them the pictures. We dated ourselves.
Ah, God.
Well, I'm okay. It's not as bad as it used to be, though.
Yeah, that's true.
Like, it used to be we would record an episode and then like 2 months later it would come out. And
that was pretty bad.
Yeah,
I will say.
But it was nice to have that backlog, though.
It was pretty nice. But it's also nice to stay up to date somewhat. Kind of current-ish. Talking about like, man, I can't wait to travel like 6 months or like a month prior. And then, we say that and there's a variant. And then we're like, well, gee, can't wait. We're going to go to Japan next week. Nah, bait.
No.
But anyways, I would, man, like watching, I think... Okay, I feel like I need to preface this. I think this is important. I'm not going to Japan just to like hit Akihabara, and live the weeb dream, Obviously, going to Japan is the weeb dream, but that's not the main focus, right? I'm not going to go to Weeb and go to Weeb Town and just like, let's fucking go. I am interested in Japanese culture in general. Whether that be because I'm Asian, whether that be because I do like anime. I'm not just going there because I'm going to go there and it's going to be the land of the anime. No, that's not. I understand that's not what
Demon Slayer.
I understand that's not how it is. Obviously, I do, but I mean, then again, I say obviously, but for some people, it is that vivid dream where they go anywhere in Japan and it's just like there's just girls walking around acting like they're anime girls or some shit. No, that's not how it works, and that's not what I'm expecting.
You have to pay for that.
I would be yes, you would, unless you're fucking you still have to pay for it. There's no chance. But I watched abroad in Japan and stuff, and I watched all sorts of things like that where you experience all sorts of things that isn't about anime, and just Japanese culture and things to do and food to eat and things to do and food to eat, basically. And
things to do, places to go, people to see, stuff and things and stuff. Yeah.
I want to go so bad during the spring. I know it's so much more feasible to go in during the summer. Okay, let me explain, Zach. First of all, obviously, this cherry blossom, the sakura viewing parties and such, obviously, right?
Yeah.
But and for you, photography heaven, of course, right? Goodness gracious, good Lord, of course, right? But that's not even the main part, because do you know about Japanese summers?
Not really, no.
Not really. They're fucking hot. But it's not the hot that it's like Arizona type hot. It's a different type of hot. A hot where during the Tokyo Olympics, the athletes actually complained about how hot it was. And it's a thing that's notorious to Japan. It's just fucking brutal. And even though summer is like the number one time to travel, it's just not. I don't want to experience. I'm sorry. I don't want to, because it just sounds like death. I don't want to subject myself to death just to be able to walk around in Weeb Town, Zach.
Mm-hmm.
So I don't. A fate worse than death. Japanese summers. I've heard, at least. So I would like to not do that. I would like to go. Maybe winter might be a little tough. I don't know. But spring seems like it would just be gold. And since I'm not in school necessarily, and even if I did go to school, I could, since I'd be in college, I can work that around easier rather than being in high school or something.
Mm-hmm.
It would work out better. So I think I'd love to find a time to go during spring, even if because to my understanding, cherry blossom blooming and that type of stuff only happens in a very short amount of time. So you got to just like hit that good spot. Otherwise, then it'd just be kind of like that already happened. Like, oh, fuck. Even if we missed that, I would still rather just go during the spring, because it's nice, more, nicer, more balanced weather, and nicer times, and it wouldn't be during the summer where tourism is probably hot.
Yeah.
Literally and figuratively.
Spring break. Yeah. I mean, we could go in like April.
We could. That'd be great. Go during my birthday. That'd be sick. Or at least sometime during April. That'd be great.
Yeah, there's a very specific reason why I chose that time and that time in particular, but it's not.
There is?
July and April.
Oh. Got you. Yeah. Sure.
Depression. But yeah, I think it would be really cool to just kind of see what that would be like. And it would be cool to
what if we hit up like all the spots that were showing up in your line in April, like the music halls and the that would be pretty cool, because a lot of I don't know if your line in April is, but I think because in general a lot of Japanese environments and scenes, I suppose, are actually based on and modeled real life places. So you see, I'm sure you've seen Instagram as well, just pictures of like the anime versus real life, that type of thing.
Yeah.
That would be very cool. I think that'd be a lot of fun to look around, especially if we could find. It'd be a little difficult to find Kimi no Na wa type of places, because we'd have to really start traveling. But that would be so cool. That would be fantastic. I would. Man. There's so much we want to do, so hopefully we can fit it all, and if not, I mean, we can go again, so it's all good, right?
Yeah. I mean, it's definitely one of those situations where I would probably want to go back immediately after we left. Like let's
just live there. Fuck it, Zach. Fuck it. Let's just
fuck it.
Let's just keep renting a hotel like to the end of time.
That would be so expensive.
Fuck it.
Fuck it.
No. But oh man, it's hard to think about even what I want to do specifically, mostly because it's been a really long time since we planned it.
Like a year.
And since then, I personally, and you as well, have learned a lot about Japan, Japanese culture, things to do and stuff like that. So there's even more things to think about and understand. As much fun as it would be to just land there and be like, all right, let's figure it out. Obviously, that's like backpack traveling.
That sounds so stressful.
It does sound so stressful. Maybe like when we were younger, that's like, yeah, that'd be so fucking cool. Just go to just take a plane to Tokyo and with only a backpack and a wallet to our names and just go. That I'm sure that probably sounded like the shit in high school. And now we're like, dude, that sounds like a logistical nightmare.
That sounds like a panic attack in an activity. Like I could not imagine a more stressful situation to be in than that, because it's like anxiety, you know? It's like, oh, I don't know where I'm sleeping tonight, and I am in a different country on the other side of the fucking world.
Nah.
I'm good.
I'm good. Yeah. I'm fine. It's all good. I like to think I wouldn't call myself adventurous, but I also wouldn't call myself too like kind of sticklery or planny. I mean, you know, I'm not really good at planning things in general, but I think for something like that, I would at least kind of put my foot on the ground. Okay, I'll actually be serious about this.
Yeah.
I'll stop being, you know, just like, okay, let's be serious about it. So
yeah, if you look up like worst ideas ever, first thing pops up, go backpacking in Japan when you're from the United States, because there's a language barrier. Even if you learn Japanese, even if you learn Japanese, it's going to be hard to like communicate with people, because it's like, you know, learning any language just from like online Duolingo and then trying to apply it to like interacting with other humans, it's like, oh, this kind of sucks, you know. And then also you have the logistical nightmare of like, I did not book a hotel for a single night.
Honestly, I find that one more scarier than a language barrier, because there's a lot of people that don't speak Japanese that live there, honestly. So, you know, I wouldn't be too afraid of that. We can figure it out, you know, Google Translate and DeepL and that type of stuff. You know, it would be a hassle, but people do that, and people like actually live there. So, you know, not at the end of the world. We can figure that out. Living is more scarier. So, frankly, I would like to figure what hotels we need to hit up and all that type of stuff, and maybe book ahead of time, book certain days. That would be it. Would be a nightmare to figure out as someone who is not not that type of person, but you know, it's something that has to be done, so we'll do it.
Yes, I agree. Yeah, it's a fun idea. Just you and a homie just going to Japan for no fucking reason other than we want to go to Japan. And we're just like, yeah.
I do want to bring my brother though.
Okay.
If feasible, because he is also very into Japanese culture. Plus, he knows probably more Japanese than I do, so that would be helpful. So, and then also, like, he's into like food, so I'd be interested to see what he wants to do, and I'm sure he would have more insight than us on picking like what foods to hit. So he would be a tool as well.
Yeah, I'm sure that the tier list of knowing about Japanese and Japanese culture would go Alvin, you. And then I'm way the fuck over here because, like, you know, I say that I've done some research. I've started learning Japanese, and it's a slow process.
Yeah, sure.
You know, but it's I'm like,
well, it's like Japanese learning a language is not a hobby. Like, you have to put your foot down and do it. Like, it's learning. It's, you know, so it requires some essences require schooling, you know? It's a thing that you got to do. So it's like, I'm just learning Japanese in my free time. No, you're not. You're doing Duolingo every now and then, you know? And I'm saying that's me, Zach. I'm not even like criticizing people. That's me. I'm trying to get better at it. I'm trying to do more. I mean, I do more than Duolingo, but I'm definitely not doing enough to be able to sustain my learning ability. I mean, I do have like a Japanese timeline because I follow more Japanese people than I do English speaking people in Twitter at this point. And, you know, when nighttime hits and it's daytime over there, my only thing you see is Japanese. And I try and figure it out and that type of stuff. I can do well, but right then and there, if you told me to read something, like, there's no fucking chance.
Oh yeah.
You know, or you told me anything. You asked me to do anything. I'm like, yeah, there's absolutely no chance. Maybe if it's in hiragana, katakana, I could probably figure it out, but no chance. But I'm sure having Alvin there would also be very helpful for both of us. So I think that'll be the move. And of course, it's also hard to like, it wants to be us. We want it to be us. And then let's just say Alvin as well. Or let's just say just us, right?
Yeah.
I always think about this, but it seems like a no-brainer in my head, but I hear it, come up all sorts of times. It's like, you have a friend group, let's say. Friend A, friend B, and friend C. Friend A and friend B wants to hang out. Is it a bad thing that they hang out without friend C?
Well, see, that's a loaded question because yes and no.
What do you think initially?
I initially think like, why would you leave out one of the homies? You know, like, yeah. But also at the same time, you know, it's like they are not obligated to hang out with you just because you're a part of their friend group.
Okay.
But at the same time, it's like rude.
Okay. Now let me see what I think. I think it's okay.
Yeah.
I think it's fine. Not necessarily for obligation reasons, because that's a bit more satirical. Wrong, completely wrong word. I don't know why I said that. It just seemed right. That seems more dutiful. Like, oh, you know, we're friends, but only by obligation. What are you, Hachiman, bro? What the fuck?
Yeah.
Like, for me, it's just like, if I asked you to hang out, Zach, am I doing a disservice to Jackson and Alec?
Right.
You know, no, not really. That's not necessarily. You know, even, you know, and if I hang out with Jackson, am I doing a disservice to you? Yeah, thanks, bud. All right. Well, in our experience, I probably didn't even come in the mic. There's a fucking truck from. Anyways.
Yeah, it's definitely like.
I think it's okay.
Yeah,
basically.
It's okay if you're not just like purposefully excluding someone. Like, you know, you and I hang out all the time. Jackson and I hang out all the time. I hang out with Alec. Not very much right now, but that's just because we've both been busy. But like, you know, I'll see Jackson and Alec hanging out and I'm like, hell yeah. And then, you know, there's that little side of me that's like, but what about me? But you know, it's like they don't have to hang out with me. I don't have to hang out with them. I have to hang out with you because I do a podcast with you, but that's because
I found the loophole to hang out with your friends. You make a podcast and surround it around him or around them. So they are obligated. There you go. Dutiful. Get fucked.
Fuck. Yeah, but you know, I wouldn't do the show if I didn't want to do it. And you know, I wouldn't hang out with you if I didn't want to hang out with you. Like, I'm literally going to see you tomorrow.
Yes.
So it's like, you know, it's not. That's why I said it's a loaded question, because there are a lot of different avenues that you can kind of go down when you're thinking about it. Like, you know, looking at it from a third person perspective, it's like, oh yeah, you know, there's nothing inherently wrong with that. But when you're in it and you're just like, oh, cool, my friends don't want to hang out with me. That's fun.
I don't think that at all. Like, not even one bit.
Yeah. For
me, at least for me. I think it's fine. It's all good because we'll hang out another time, or we'll all hang out in a group another time.
Yeah.
That's me, though, because my family is very big and vast, and we all live in the Northwest.
Right.
So it's like, it's really easy for us to just invite each other. So we've all just gotten used to just, you know, like, so the way my family hangs out, I have my 4 aunts under the same grandparents, so the 4 sisters, I suppose. We've kind of wrapped our in-law and relative relationships around those 4. It's just kind of what happened. It's not like some hierarchy type bullshit. No. It's just kind of what happened, and it just works out that way as far as planning wise goes. And there's times where we hang out with one of the aunts, all of the aunts, 2 of the aunts, and we don't invite the other one. It's not because we didn't want to. It's just, you know, it's kind of what happened. It's all good. We'll hang out with each other next week. It's all good. Doesn't matter.
Yeah.
or we'll or literally like, oh, we hung out on the weekend. Oh, that's all good. Hey, I'll be there around I'll be there Tuesday. Anyone trying to come? It's like, even though we don't invite, it doesn't really matter that much. So maybe it's a difference between that. The way I was raised versus like, I don't really care. If you hang out and you don't invite me, I don't care. Like, at all. So I don't know. Maybe that's just me. I've never thought, just like, you know, if you and another buddy hang out and you stab me, how we're having so much fun, and I'm like, yeah, good shit. And then I'll just like, all right, cool. And I'll keep watching anime.
Yeah. It's definitely it's a little bit weird when you're trying to explain it in a way that makes sense. Especially when you're talking about like the way that you interact with your friends correlating with the way that you interact with your family. Because like with my family, my family is very vast and broad and vast. And so the time when my entire family is together is maybe like once a year. And I mean, lately it's been more often than that, but that's just because, sadness. But, those are those things that you kind of like, oh, I wasn't invited to that. Like I wasn't invited to go to Vegas with my family. And I was like, oh, that's kind of a bummer. Just because it was like, I wanted to go. And they just were like, nah, fam.
Well, that's different because it's a thing that you go regularly, or at least, somewhat consistently.
Right.
Or, I would say regularly. For you, you would go regularly and you didn't get invited this time, Yeah, I can see that.
But as far as just like hanging out with friends and those types of things, I don't care for the most part. Like, I'm not really too bothered. It's just like those special situations where it's like I ask them to hang out, they're like, nah, I can't today, and then they're off hanging out with one of my other buddies, and I'm like, wow, fuck yeah.
Mm-hmm. Well, they should at least tell you, like, oh, I would, but I'm hanging out with another buddy.
Yeah,
right.
Yeah.
If they don't tell you, then I would get pissed too. Like, all right, well, fuck you, then. Well, not really, but I just be like, oh, well, I mean, I could have at least told me, like, hey, I would, but I can't because I already made plans with someone else.
Yeah, and it's so funny when especially with like Jackson and Alec and Alec's brother, like they during the summer they would just go and swim in Washougal, like in the Washougal River, and I would just get Snapchats of them at the beach and stuff, and I'm like, oh, fuck yeah, you do you, boo boo. Or like I'll call him or I'll call Jackson and Alec will pick up the phone, and I'm like, what the hell is going on here? It's like that stuff doesn't bother me, but it's just kind of like. I guess I kind of read into it a little bit too much. Like, I sit there and kind of overanalyze things. Hence the explanation that I'm having right now.
Yeah.
Just a lot of.
All right. Hey,
you're like,
I bet.
And we're moving on. But yeah, it's I kind of treat my friends like they are my family.
Mm-hmm.
And so I guess the way that thought just went gone. It left the building. That's great. I love that.
Friends are family.
Friends are family.
Fast and Furious. Family. This car runs on family.
And G Fuel. But yeah, it's like the way that my family operates is like a heavy influence on the way that I interact with my friends.
Sure.
And it's like everyone's in the loop, everyone's involved in everything, everyone knows what's going on, and there's a lot of communication that way. And so when I don't get that, and then it just kind of makes my brain wander a bit. So I guess that's the main thing. It's interesting. It's interesting how relationships work with anybody and everybody, because it's like it's influenced by something, but you never really know exactly what it is.
So you just want to be more included, just in general.
Yeah,
Gotcha.
Or at least be more informed in what's going on.
Mm-hmm.
Because it's like if I don't know what's going on, then my brain will try to fill in the gaps in the most negative way possible.
Well, that's your fault then.
Well, yeah, it 100% is my fault, and I'm fully aware of that. Because low self-esteem. But yeah, I'm rambling, so please just interrupt me.
Sure. So Japan. What? I can't. Oh man. I'm just excited for when it happens, but I know it's going to take fucking forever. I know it's going to take a while, but at the same time, I would be a hypocrite after all this time of saying be patient and stuff if I started complaining about, the situation, I suppose.
Yeah.
Right? Because, we in history, things like this happen. And it doesn't just take a year,
Yeah.
It doesn't blow off in a couple months. If anything, this is probably the fastest things have ever, been operating, I suppose, like in tandem of the world. Like, so I'm impressed in that, and I'm thankful to live in a time where it can proceed as fast as it is, even though it is evolving. We're still, you know, hitting it correctly when it evolves.
We're still like on top of it.
Yeah, we're still on top of it, and it'll probably be over. Well, maybe not over, because I heard cabbage is going to be with us forever, and it'll be one of those things where we're probably just going to have to take like annual shots for it or something, you know, kind of like the flu shot. I heard that's what it's coming to. If that is, then I mean, I suppose it's fine. It's just another vaccine to take. But you know, I'm glad that it is moving at the pace that it is, and I think actually opening. Okay, this is going to sound a little controversial, so let me explain this. All right, this might be a hot take. I apologize. So when it was really shitty, you know, the entire world shut down, lockdown, planes weren't flying, all that, right? We opened back up relatively quick. You know, I would say, right? Would you agree?
Oh yeah.
You know, the planes are flying again, and I mean internationally. Planes are flying again. You know, boats are sailing. I'm like, okay, cool. We're good, or at least we think we're good. But let's keep the masks on, or maybe let's take the masks off. I think we're okay. We're fine, or rather, we're fine enough to open planes back up. And now we're back down, right? What that did actually, so that sounds like this is gonna sound super shitty, right? Okay, but this is gonna sound really shitty. But what that did was escalate the problem and make it more real and in front of our face. To be, okay, we were wrong. Now we really should take this seriously. That sounds really bad. That's basically like me supporting natural selection, which I am, but not because I want stupid people to. Not. I'm joking. That's a joke.
I feel like now would be a great time to interrupt. So yeah, I get what you're saying though. Like for us to really understand how serious that problem actually was, it kind of needed to be shoved in front of our faces, which is kind of fucked. But at the same time, it's one of those things that just kind of has to happen, especially when you're dealing with a global pandemic. You know, they don't call things global pandemics unless they're pretty fucking serious.
Yeah.
And so, you know, it all just kind of went down shit's creek after that. But, you know, now we're on top of it. Now we're getting to the point to where there may be a time in the near future, maybe not next year, but maybe the year after that or the year after that. You never know. We might be able to get back to something that resembles normal. And, you know, it's crazy to think that 3 years ago, everything was just completely normal. You know, like we were fresh out of high school.
Yeah.
I was going to college.
I was going to college.
Yeah.
Everything was just fine. And then the Fire Nation attacked. So much changed in like so little time. And I think we are still in little time, you know?
Yeah.
It is only... I don't want to be the guy to say it's the beginning, but it's definitely has not reached its peak. I feel like, as far as, I'm not talking about like, you know, its toll in humanity. I'm not talking about that. I'm talking about the situation as in a whole.
Yeah,
has not reached its peak. Like the way we deal with it, the way the world is, or the way it's affecting the world in general. I don't think this is the end, or we haven't reached that middle yet. I don't think so. We will reach a solution as, you know, we figure it out more and such, and that's pretty impressive on humanity to be able to do that as well, right?
Right.
But it's not. This is not a. We don't live in a. This is not an anime, you know. We're not going to figure it out in a fucking year, you know.
Yeah.
It's going to take time, just like it has in the past.
Right.
We'll figure it out, but we gotta wait.
Luckily, we are in the point where we can make those changes much quicker than we used to. And, you know, instead of this taking a decade to get to the point to where it is now, you know, it's taken 2 years. You
know, Zach, I think it's hard to understand this until you think about like when we read the history books and on wars and such, and there's individual battles that last years, and we breeze over it in like a chapter, a paragraph at most.
Yeah.
You know, like, oh, there was this battle that happened in this country and it went from like 1870 to 1880. And we're like, okay, cool. And we move on to the next chapter, the next battle. But that was 10 years.
Yeah.
You know? I might be, you know, kind of just pulling numbers, but you know, it took a long time for just a battle, you know?
Yeah.
So you got to think of it like that, because we were taught these history books of multiple things, not just battles, you know, like all sorts of things happening in decades span. And then we move on to the next one, the next chapter, because we're too worrying about making sure we read it for the next day before we get fucked, you know?
Yeah.
You know, so you gotta remember that, you know, this event that's taking place right now is going to be in a history book.
That's so crazy to think about.
Yeah. So, are we just gonna be the magical event that ends up, hey, we did it in a year, good for us? No, we're not there yet. You know, we're gonna be that thing where it happened and it's gonna happen over an X amount of years. And you need to understand that it's bad, and it sounds like I'm wishing that upon the world. I'm not. I'm being realistic. I'm understanding the situation and understanding how the world is handling it, how the people around me are handling it.
Right.
So under that assessment, I know it's going to take a while. That's all.
Yeah. Yeah, and I guess it's kind of hard to really quantify how serious it is, because, you know, with the context of history books and all of that kind of stuff, you know, like you said, it's summed up in one chapter.
Mm-hmm.
And, you know, the people who lived in that one chapter, it was a long time, you know, years and years. You look at the Great Depression, that was a long ass time. And, you know, the fact that we were able to bounce back from the housing crisis in 2008 as fast as we did, like, that's fucking crazy. That's wild, you know? And so
that's an anomaly.
Yeah, it's an anomaly, but also, you know, I think that kind of like set the expectations for certain people that, oh yeah, you know, this is going to be over in like 6 months, or this is going to be over in a year.
Yeah.
You know,
it's just not like that.
Yeah. That's not going to happen. And people thought that it did, and then it came back and bit them in the ass, essentially.
And I know it sounds bad, but that's what needed to happen.
Right.
You know, consequences of our actions.
Yeah.
You know, the one thing that defines humans is greed. If Squid Game taught us anything. So, you know, it's just gonna be a natural cause of just cause and effect. That's how we're gonna blow through this, and it sucks. And I know I sound like a cynical person saying that. Obviously, that's not the thing that you want to hear, but it's the thing that you need to hear, because obviously, you know, COVID has affected me and my family, yours and your family,
right?
Yours and your family, you and your family, right words. Other people's and their families, but it also does not affect some people and their families yet.
Yeah.
So there's a lot of areas where they don't even like, they're like, man, we're just chilling, you know, but nobody's safe. And I know it's so annoying to just keep talking about this over and over again, but you know, it's kind of the big thing that's happening right now. So it's hard not to talk about it.
Yeah. It's just, you know, one of those things that is like the biggest thing that has happened in our lifetime.
Yeah.
Since 9/11.
Yeah.
Man, we're just getting like controversial bingo on YouTube.
Oh man, that's okay. That's okay. It's not. I mean, not the controversial. Anyways, but you know, these things need to happen. So before, like we've said before, and I think you even said it like word for word. You know, if you start believing and or rather, you know, speaking through. Oh gosh, I had the exact quote that you did when we're talking about debating opinions on Twitter. Oh god, it was like if you fought with personal opinion before facts, then you've lost the fight. Something along those lines.
Yeah.
If you think that we're going to overcome this with the power of family and friendship, you know,
the power of God and anime.
The power of God and anime. No, no, we're gonna get there. It's possible, and history has proven that it's possible. We'll figure it out. because technology has advanced even further than that. And frankly, it's pretty cool that we got a vaccine like year 1.
Right.
I think that's fantastic. That's crazy. But that doesn't necessarily mean, all right, we're chilling. You know, getting a vaccine year 1 was probably, I don't know. I'd have to fact check myself, but probably at least some type of scientific breakthrough.
Yeah.
As far as like, efficiency, quickness, and the advancements of technology. That's beautiful. As a tech nerd, that makes me smile. But when you gotta think realistically, we're not this is not an anime. This is not a movie. It's not going to be over in an hour. We're not going to reach a conclusion so soon.
Yeah, we are still in the training arc. We just got done facing the main antagonist. We lost, and now we're
it's not going to be a movie. And I'm not seeing these type of movies, but I imagine these movies where something breaks out and things happen, and by the end of the movie, it's only been like a week.
Do you remember when people thought that the lockdown was only going to be like a month or 2?
Yes. Yeah.
That was so wild. And like I was completely convinced, like, oh yeah, we're going to be in a quarantine for like, 2 months and then everything will be fine. It's been 2 years.
Well, I wouldn't consider now quarantining.
Well,
we're not. Yeah. Quarantine. The actual lockdown was probably. It wasn't actually as long as I thought it would be, at least here. Although even though quote unquote lockdown opened back up, most to many stores are still are closed anyway. So it wasn't necessarily open after lockdown. So. In that sense, then, yeah, we would have been in a quarantine type of phase for a very long time. But I agree. Definitely thought it was, it would just be a couple months. And that wasn't because I was just told that and like, all right, cool, we'll be done soon. It was more just hopeful thinking, I suppose. Yeah. Me wanting to think that this wasn't as bad as it is going to be.
Yeah.
Just like wishful thinking, like, okay, this is really bad, but I believe and we can figure it out.
That was the most terrifying thought once you realize the gravity of the situation, like, oh shit, this is actually really scary. And people are dying from this and this is really bad. When you first initially heard about it, it was just like, okay, this is one of those things that is probably not going to affect my day-to-day life very much. I'll play along and make sure that, I do my due diligence, but at the end of the day, it's not a big deal. And then it turned out to be a really fucking big deal.
Yeah.
It turned out to be one of the craziest things that I've ever experienced in my entire life. And I think it's going to be really cool because, when we're 30 years removed from this and we're talking to our kids or grandkids or whatever, telling the story of like, oh yeah, we lived through a global pandemic and this was like an actual global pandemic, like some crazy shit happened. There was a toilet paper crisis, Arthur. Did you forget about that? Do you remember?
Of course I did forget about that, Zach.
Do you remember the murder hornets?
I don't actually. The murder hornets.
There were people who were freaking out about.
Wait, I do. Never mind. I do.
You just got so excited.
I do. I probably shouldn't have been. I'm sorry. I was excited the fact that, okay, I do remember that was a thing. Although I wasn't too into that necessarily, but I do remember.
I heard about it.
I heard about it. That's all.
Yeah. And like later on in life, some small child is going to come up to me and be like, what were the murder hornets? And I'm like,
oh. Sit down, son.
Yeah. Or like,
do I have a story?
What was the toilet paper crisis of 2020? And I'll start the story like, I was on the front lines in a Costco in Vancouver.
I was holding my ground.
I was standing there watching people check out with a 3-foot high stack of toilet paper. And I remember it like it was yesterday. We had to limit how much chicken you could buy. You couldn't buy more than like a dozen eggs. it was weird. It was like the weirdest fucking thing I've ever experienced.
Quick random note: how much? What was the limit on chicken? 2?
I think it was 2. Yeah.
2.
Well, it changed. It would go between like 2 and 3.
Why would you ever buy more than 1 chicken?
Big family?
Maybe. I guess so. I suppose so. But
yeah, they literally. Almost,
I mean, in general, I'm not talking about during the pandemic. I'm talking about just like because if we buy chicken or something to cook, we'll probably cook it either the day of or the next day. Because it's fresh.
this is like already cooked, like rotisserie chicken.
Yeah, that's what I'm saying.
Yeah, it's already cooked, bro. So it's like, I don't know.
Yeah,
save it for leftovers and shit. I don't know. But yeah, they were limiting like chicken, eggs, milk, like
that's crazy.
Beef, steak, poultry, just like basically almost every single thing in the store because people were panic buying so much shit. And my mom ended up doing a less bizarre version of that. She ended up buying like 2 or 3 things of toilet paper and a couple gallons of milk and just like more than we would normally get, but not like to the extreme of making a toilet paper fortress in your house. Like
I wonder if those people still have that toilet paper because they have not used it yet, and they're like, "Fuck."
Bro, they probably do.
They probably do.
Bro, did you see
on
Facebook Marketplace the people who are selling like toilet paper and Lysol wipes?
Yes,
that was
dude, what
so
the fuck,
fucked.
dude. Are you fucking kidding me, dude? You're really reselling toilet paper at a higher net value? Are you kidding me? That's really what happened, Zach. Zach, that what you just brought up just pissed me off. I can't believe we shoe-sold fucking toilet paper.
It doesn't make any fucking sense.
This is why we have a GPU shortage and scalping problem, because we scalped the toilet paper first, Zach, and we're like, oh shit, we can just scalp whatever the fuck we want.
And Lysol wipes.
We can just do it. Let's just fucking do it. Let's line up for the next drop of paper towels. Buy that shit. Throw it on.
Go to the next drop of Charmin Ultra Soft.
Dude, I can't even fucking believe it, bro. I know this is first world problems, but I had to wipe my ass with 1 ply for like months, and I was so upset.
Dude, it's basically nothing.
Dude, listen, I know. First world problem. Oh, just the 4-3-4 plan, type of shit. Listen, if you can take 2 sheets of toilet paper, sandwich them together and look through it and still be able to look through it, Zach, that's not toilet paper, Zach. Just wipe your ass with your hand.
It would be more efficient.
It would be more efficient. And then you wash it and then you'll be like, fuck that. That's what it is. That's what it was. Like, what the fuck is this? I'm not trying to say no, like, oh, I wipe my ass with the most quality baby wipes.
Yeah.
Have you ever wiped your ass with baby wipes?
No.
I haven't either. I'm curious about it though. I don't think I'd ever switch to it, but I'm afraid if I ever try, because you've heard about that, right?
Oh yeah,
people wiping their ass with baby wipes, like, oh, if you do it, we'll never go back. And I'm sure it's nice. I'm sure it's pleasant, because the nature of baby wipes, right? But shit, dude, that seems way more expensive.
Because it is.
Because it is. Yeah. I don't want to experience that on accidentally and then never go back.
At that point, just buy a bidet.
Dude, I want a bidet. Another thing about Japanese culture that I really like.
So,
anyways,
sorry. At the house that Ben's living at right now, he has a bidet.
No way. That's crazy.
And I accidentally turned up the pressure too high.
Oh, yikes.
And it was slightly unpleasant. But
that's okay.
It's like it's one of those things where you have to experience it once in your life. And
I'll try anything once.
Yeah. Well, not anything. Probably not drugs, or like some drugs, but it's really weird when you think about the things that are commonplace in other countries that is just like the most bizarre thing ever. Like bidets and no tax. Or no
tax.
The tax is
no sales tax.
The sales tax is already added onto the price.
Yeah.
And so you already know what the total is going to be before you pay
is the
for it.
sales tax added to the price, or it's included in the deduction of your pay or your taxes, like federal tax, to my understanding.
Yeah, it's like, oh wow. This is weird.
Yeah, but you know, we live in Vancouver, so we gotta worry about that. We'll just drive to Portland and have no sales tax and drive back up and don't have to worry about it. All good. Anyways, nice. I think that's about it. I think we're okay.
I think we talked about all the things.
About all sorts of things today, Zach. Wow, what an adventure today, Zach. And you know what also would be an adventure, Zach?
What?
Adventuring down to the description.
Oh my God.
And checking out the links that we have. Coffee, Patreon, if it's there. Smash the button of subscription, because unlike this YouTube subscription, you don't got to pay. It's free. It's free to subscribe. Give it a shot. And I'm sure you'll be thoroughly enthused by the content that we produce. I was going to say something, but I forgot. Anything you have to say, Zach?
If you enjoyed the video, hit a thumbs up. If you
said that already. Wait, did I already? I don't know.
I don't know. If you didn't, there's another button there too. I mean, you know, do what you want. It's your life. Let us know down in the comments what you guys want to hear us talk about, because, you know, we are open to suggestions, and we love talking about stuff that we have no idea what the fuck we're talking about, because that's a lot of fun.
Oh, I love doing that.
But yeah, peace and chicken grease. I love your face. Goodbye.
See ya.